Hey, so I'm going to redo these videos to just try and aim for, I guess, the demographic that I want to aim for, which is people who have probably just watched Top Gun. You've seen a couple of flight simulators and you want to get into it, but it is a little bit daunting. It doesn't need to be daunting. You can go as far as you want, but it is actually very exciting to get in, the deep end. You just need to understand a few of the basics, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. We're intermediate, I guess. I myself, I'm not hugely skilled. I consider myself a little bit slow, to be honest. So when I read the manuals and things like that, I try and reduce it down as much as I can so that I can understand it. And doing videos for you guys helps me, and I hope it helps you. Because flight simming is an expensive hobby. It doesn't have to be, but it is a very fun hobby. The community is excellent. There's just too many great things to talk about. So, sitting here, excuse me, I've just been aiming at this thing. What's this thing? It's an MFD, and I've got two of them. So the A10C has two of these MFDs, and I've programmed it, which is fairly simple. Definitely tons of tutorials out there, and it displays in here the MFDs, the screens in the A10. You can press the buttons along with it and use it, correctly. Wrong word to use. But that's one of the reasons why I like using Track IR instead of the VR version, because I can look around my own cockpit, the one that I've built. This is a HOTAS joystick. Originally came from the F4 Phantom, and over the years of tried and tested military use. So this is an actual, a replica of what's in the A10C right now. They tried to use the same switches and everything, but it's very expensive. A HOTAS joystick is definitely worth having, but it's extremely expensive. You can get away with a normal joystick and a keyboard. I mean, it is very expensive. I don't want to encourage people to go out unless you're really serious about it, to spend that kind of money. I mean, you can get away with some things. So if we're looking at this, that's what I use for Gran Turismo on the PlayStation 3. It doesn't work on the PlayStation 4 now, which is annoying, but I can get away with it. I can map the pedals. It's not the most comfortable. I do want, proper flight pedals. These are just held on with like some double-sided carpet tape, which is really strong and really sticky. And I use this little bit here for whatever I'm doing at the time. So we've got radio stations and ILS up for me to reference, just to get into the spirit of what do you call it? I don't know, just getting into it, because sometimes when you start up your engine or something like that, you need to talk to the tower that's there, just for immersion. That's it. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, it is an expensive hobby. There's a lot of things you can do to get around it, like the keyboard. I think the video that I put up about the newbie guide does have a lot of references to the keyboard, so you can kind of see what you're doing, but I had to change some of those buttons around. I do apologise if anyone's confused about that. At the moment, I was at the time I did this, I was starting to learn what stations can hold what, so that I can program the data tapes and things like that, and change my weapon loadout when I go to refuel and things like that, which I haven't actually done yet, to be honest. I'm still learning. I like the idea of learning. So a video that I'm going to put out, which this one is supposed to complement, is kind of getting into the advanced, intermediate, just giving you an understanding of the different things that are out there, some of the different things that you need to learn, and a very basic overview of it, very basic. But I try and explain as best I can the bearing deal, because calling out like the bra calls and the bullseye calls and things like that can get confusing, and it is a bit daunting for new people. So I've tried to explain that as best I can at entry level, and I hope that works for you. Another thing as well to complement that, if you're just learning about it, I did hear or read somewhere that over here in the corner or over here somewhere, they put up a whiteboard and they've got a big circle, and then they can work out their bearings in relation to other things, you know, around them. And that's if you want to go down that path. And to be honest, I don't think I need to do that anymore, because making the video on the bearings has kind of helped me understand it myself, which, you know, these videos are great because they help me learn and then try and, you know, reduce it down to something you guys have learned. So I hope this really, you know, helps you. So the track IR, I don't know whether I mentioned it, but it's something I want to mention, that I prefer that over the VR because you can work in your own cockpit. You know, you can press the buttons and things like that, whereas in VR you really have to just use the mouse and work with the cockpit that's in there, which I find kind of slows me down a little bit. Now, this is a bit dirty because it's been a while since I've actually used it, but this is the infrared sensor that picks up on this, and I prefer to use the hat, although I do have the laser one, which you hook onto your headphones, and that sends out some lasers, and this can determine where your head is in relation to, you know, the sensor from seeing those lasers. But I just prefer to use the hat because, I don't know, it's easier. You just get a hat and whack these on, and then just put your headphones over the top and it works fine. And to be honest, I think I haven't used the VR version of DCS or anything really, and I think it would take away the experience, because I like using these. I like pressing the buttons. I like the flicky bits, and yeah, everything's a bit dirty because it's been a while since I've set it up. Which is a bit sad, really, because I love the flight simulators. But, you know, we're going to get back into it, and hopefully I can help you guys get motivated and interested in joining the community with the rest of us. Have fun.